The phone message was interesting.
The president wants to have a meeting with you.
The president of what? I wanted to know. There was a pause.
Well, I mean the president of the United States.
Now it was my turn to pause. I had been on the verge of saying something flippant, but the answer on the phone put a stop to that. Instead, "Are you kidding me?"
No, Mr. O'Shea, I'm not. He wants to know when you can come to the White House, and he told me the sooner the better.
If you're really serious, I can be there just about any time.
How about day after tomorrow, Wednesday?
What time?
Would 10 o'clock be all right?
Yes.
We'll make arrangements for you to stay here. It may take 2 or 3 days. You might like staying in the Lincoln bedroom.
That did it. You're putting me on. Who is this?
Sorry, I should have told you. I'm Robert Hastings, the President's Chief of Staff. And I'm not putting you on, Mr. O'Shea. This is a matter of major importance. We'll see you Wednesday.
That was the end of the phone conversation, but it certainly wasn't the end of my thinking about it. What is the meaning of this? I sat back a little confused and somewhat stunned, but not for long. I went downstairs where Helga was busily engaged in fixing one of her great breakfasts.
What was your phone call so early in the morning?
You're not going to believe this. Let me buzz Lute and get him over here so I can fill both of you in at the same time. I meant, of course, Luther.
Call me Lute.
Martin. She is now Helga O'Shea, nee Lang, the lovely lady of my life and one of our trio with an unusual mutual occupation. I almost hesitate to call it an occupation, but I guess that fits as well as anything else. Basically, or more aptly, we, are seekers and finders. We look for things that have been lost, hidden, or stolen, sometimes on a freelance basis, but more often as a commissioned team. We have been lucky enough to have a pretty good record of success. Some of our escapades have been noted in newspaper stories, television, online, and word of mouth. I suppose it's coverage of that nature that prompted this morning's phone call. In short order, Lute entered the kitchen. We upgraded a former carriage house on my estate, and he lives there full-time.
"What's up?"
he asked immediately. Might as well get some coffee and sit down. This is going to take some explaining. The problem being, I don't really have an explanation.
Uh-oh, here we go again. Where are we going and when do we leave?
You're not going to believe this. I didn't at first, but the president wants to see me. Or us, as the case may be.
The president of what?
Helga wanted to know. That's the same question I asked. It's the president. The president of the United States.
Come on now, you're pulling our leg.
My reaction exactly. At first, that is.
You mean you're serious?
Yep.
Helga poured some coffee and sat down with us. Okay, no more beating around the bush. We're all ears.
There's not much I can tell you right now. The call was from Robert Hastings, the White House Chief of Staff. We've been invited, sounded more like a command, to be at the White House Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. He just mentioned me, but we're like the Three Musketeers. Helga nodded and said in Latin, showing her linguistic prowess,
Unus pro omnibus, omnes pro uno. One for all for one. I assume that's what you mean.
Sure is. Hastings offered to put me up in Lincoln's bedroom, but they'll have to expand their accommodation plans if you two expect to go with me. They both ha-ha'd. That was a try and stop us sound if I ever heard one. I told Helga she was nominated to call and make new arrangements, and she accepted the assignment. She went to the library to place the call, wasn't gone long, and came back wearing a big smile.
I was lucky and got through right away when they found out why I was calling. Got the press secretary, Carl Boyd. I explained the situation, and guess who I got to talk to next?